All right, so you're going to take 3 exams this semester. And the first one you're going to take this week. So I want to go over in this video how you can access that exam, some strategies for taking it and getting a really good grade on it, and some things to just kind of be mindful of as you're taking it. All right, so I'll come back at the end of the video to explain where you can get the exam. I want to first look at some of the questions. There's about 50 questions, I think, on this exam. Each one is worth 2 points. The questions, it's really important. The first thing you want to keep in mind is really important to read all of the instructions for each question really carefully, because you'll see, like in this first one, there's some information right at the end of the question or right at the end of the instructions that are really important. So it says, in each problem below, you're given a statement, its truth value in parentheses, and an operation or relation to be performed on that statement. You must identify the new statement and truth value of the new statement. Take the Aristotelian standpoint and assume that A and B denote things that actually exist. So those last 2 sentences there are super important. All right, so then you're given the statement all A or B, its truth value is true, and then you're instructed to perform the relation of contraries to that statement. And what you have to do is then identify which of these statements results when you apply the relation of contraries to all A or B. And importantly, you want to make sure you read through all of the potential answers, because you'll see that some of the answers actually have different truth values. So the first answer here is no A or B with an undetermined truth value, but down here second to the bottom is no A or B and it's false, right? So if you were thinking that no A or B is the correct answer, you wouldn't want to just immediately select whichever one happens to appear first, because maybe there's another piece to that answer that's important that you'd have to consider. So read all of the potential answers really carefully. It can be extremely effective on these exams to eliminate answers that you know are not correct and reduce that possible range of answers to choose from down a little bit. So if you were to look at these answers and say, I know it couldn't be that one, then you're reducing down the possibilities that you have to consider, okay? So read the instructions really carefully, take your time with these things. Remember, you have unlimited time and 2 attempts at these. So what a lot of folks will do is they'll sit down and they'll work on 5 problems, save their work, take a break, come back, do 5 more, and so on and so forth, so that they don't get exhausted doing this. Your submission doesn't count as a submission until you actually hit the submit button. So you can pause and save your work as you go along here. Another thing that's important to keep in mind is, just as you saw in that first problem there, many of the problems are going to specify that you work from, that you assume either the Aristotelian or the Boolean standpoint. So you want to keep that in mind as well. And again, a really good strategy that folks use when taking this exam is they'll take all their chapter 4 handouts and they'll lay them out in front of them, the book, their notes, anything that's relevant to this, because again, you have unlimited time. So you have the ability to give each problem the time it deserves for you to be able to select the correct answer. And you can do that by going back and looking at your sheets and reminding yourself, oh yeah, this is what it means when I'm assuming the Boolean standpoint or the Aristotelian standpoint. All right, so you'll go through, you'll answer all of these. You'll come to some problems that have Venn diagrams in them. And if what appears on your screen is just a little box with a little blue question mark in the middle, that means that you're having a browser problem. So I usually use a browser and the Venn diagrams don't show up in it. And it always causes me to kind of freak out, like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to know where things are? So if you find that, just try to use a different browser. Firefox works really dependably with Canvas. So if your Venn diagrams aren't showing up for these problems, it means you need to choose a different browser. All right, so now there's a couple of ways that you can access this exam. One is by clicking the quizzes button on the left-hand side of your Canvas screen. And that'll take you to a page where there's a category of assignments called exams, and you'll see chapter 4 exam sitting there. There's also a link to the exam in this page of the module where you're watching this video right now. So down at the bottom of the page, there's a link to the exam there. A good strategy for taking this exam is to complete the first attempt, submit it. Go back into the exam and review it to see which problems you got correct and which ones you got incorrect. And you'll be able to see what answer you chose on your first attempt. And what folks will do often is they'll then reopen a fresh copy of the exam to do again for their second attempt. And they'll have those two windows sitting next to each other on the screen of their computer, and they'll simply go through and start selecting the answers that they got correct on the first attempt. They'll start selecting those same correct answers on the second attempt, but they won't select the answer that was incorrect on their first attempt. They'll select any one of those answers on that second attempt other than the one that they know is the wrong answer. So again, that's when that process of elimination can work really well for you, because if you now know that one of those answers that you thought was correct is not correct, you've just reduced down the field of potential answers that you have to contend with. All right, so you want to make sure that you have this exam done by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Don't wait until Sunday at 11 o'clock to do it, because you may run into a problem, okay? And this is the last thing I want to tell you, is that if on your first attempt, or at any point, actually, at any point when you're working on the exam, if you come across a problem and you don't understand the instructions, or you answered a problem in a particular way that turned out to be incorrect and you just don't understand why or how to answer the question correctly, you really should email me, because we can talk about whatever it is that's involved in that problem and get your head wrapped around all of that stuff, so that on that second attempt, you can select the right answer, okay? So no anxiety about this exam. I'm really confident you're going to do really wonderfully on it. And remember, you have these 3 exams. You get 2 attempts and unlimited time on each one, plus you also get a free retake of any one of those 3 exams, okay? You don't have to exercise that option. It's not many people do, but every semester a few do. They have an exam that they want to redo, or they missed an exam. But just remember that you'll get a free retake of any one of the exams. So the worst that happens is you bomb this exam on both attempts, and then you say, oh, I'd like to retake that exam. And we set you up with a new set of questions, same number and types of questions, but they'll be a little bit different. And then you can retake that exam, and we'll keep your highest score. So no sweating this. You're going to do great.